right? That should get me going, okay? I just want to check one thing, Angela, before we get going and make sure. I kind of feel. Oh, nope, it is live. Okay, good.
It is. Okay.
Finally. Okay, finally got a comment. I got nervous because I wasn't seeing any comments. So sorry, guys. If you were watching, I was not trying to discount you, I promise. Um, and here's a question even before we start out. So I'm going to ask this question, then I'm going to let you introduce yourself if that's okay.
Yeah,
Because this
sure.
is a really good question since it's a kettlebell workout or
Hmm.
kettlebell workout. It's after 5, all bets are off. With
Ah!
me in words, middle-aged lady. Um, Kimberly says, are kettlebell exercises safe if you have an osteoporosis diagnosis? Which I know you know a lot about.
Right. So you can assume nothing is safe when it comes to an osteoporosis diagnosis. However, oops, you know what, Kathy? I see a whole different view now. So unfortunately, you guys are going to see a lot of lamps and stuff. Pardon
No,
me
no,
a
no.
moment.
I just see a
Yeah,
little bit of lamp when we go into the big one. You're going to see some of the white lamps. Do you want to change that? You
yeah,
can.
yeah. If I can just, give me just a moment here.
It's
This
the
is,
other side that I see, the white
yeah,
lamps.
but
Oh,
remember,
okay.
it films the opposite, right? So hold on. Let me just
Hey,
try something.
Mona and Lori. I'm going to leave it up on this view just so you can see what we're seeing.
Wow, this has never happened before, and this is really rather profound.
Can
Um,
you just move it's sitting the same where it always does. Could you move it forward, whatever you're filming on, a little bit? Oh, that looks great.
all
That's
right, I think we
great.
got it, right? It's a little bit askew for me, but I can handle it as long as that wasn't popping like that, because that's just incredibly distracting. Um,
Okay.
now, there
No,
we go. I
yeah.
was trying to limit. Okay.
You're
All right.
trying to
So
limit the
sorry.
other lamp. That's okay.
Yeah,
We can
yeah.
refocus. Here, I'll even start back
All
with
right.
the two camera. Hello, everyone. I see more of you are coming in. Oh, yeah, more of you coming in. I am happy to see you all here. We're here with Angela Fischetti. And the question is, are kettlebell exercises safe if you have an osteoporosis diagnosis?
Right. Now, I want to address that, okay? I always assume that nothing is safe with an osteoporosis diagnosis, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. What you need to do is talk to your medical doctors, the ones who you really work with regarding the diagnosis, to find out what is appropriate for you, all right? Because when I work with somebody with osteoporosis, I do not give them weights of any kind right away. I'm working with movement. Let's see how the body adjusts to movement. And I will be addressing osteoporosis as part of this process because there are ways of working with the kettlebells, but I have to tell you flat out, you don't just jump in and think you can do it, all right? This really needs to be monitored and approved by your medical healthcare practitioners who are savvy about strength training and osteoporosis, because not a lot of them are. But don't ever give up the hope. I had it. I had osteoporosis, okay? And it took me 3.5 years to downgrade to age appropriate osteopenia, which is a whole nother ball game than osteoporosis. But because there is osteopenia, I got to keep doing my work and I have to keep strength training. But this is all a specific way of approaching with osteoporosis. You never do first. You observe first. You watch the work first. And then you're going to know what you can do, right? But there are some things that, depending upon your scans, the DEXA and all of that, that you must discuss with your medical doctor and let them know, hey, I'm interested in doing resistance work. And maybe it's with weights, maybe it's with bands and tubes, maybe it's with a fitness weighted ball, whatever, as long as there is some sense of resistance, but never right away. You have to approach this really slowly, but don't think it can't be done. All right, because it can. I never want to take away hope because I know it can be. So was there anything else, Kathy, we wanted to address?
No, would you like to just enter? Okay, let me look.
I just
Look
want
at
to make
me.
sure she doesn't have something follow up to say.
Okay, I'll give that a minute, and I'm going to say how many, Carol, and I think you're going to address this too, like how many pounds to start with and things like that, and also Angela's going to talk about perceived exertion charts in a little bit, and I've added that to the description under the YouTube. I tried to put it in the chat, but the link is too long. So you might have to refresh YouTube to see that, but it is there, know that. And I guess let's just go ahead. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell everybody where they can find you, what you do, how they can work with you. And you guys, down there in the description, you have all the links for that as well. But please do tell everybody, because you have such an expertise, I want people to realize why they should be hanging out with you and working out with you.
Thank you. But can I ask you this? Would this be okay with you folks? Could I teach first while I'm talking? Because I can convey information while I'm teaching. It's
Sure.
unusual for them. It's unusual for somebody who's viewing to go into the details of where you can find me and all that. I promise you, I'm not going to let you people off the hook. I will definitely give you information about me, my background, anything you want, how to contact me, etc. But I think it's important we begin the work so that you can understand what is being done here, as opposed to me talking about it. This way you can refer back to it as well. Is that okay, Kathy?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate this. So my name is Angela Fischetti, and my background is in fitness and wellness since 1989, when I began to be I was actually mentoring with somebody as a mentee, I believe. Yes, as a mentee, and in 89 for personal training. And my work back then began with older adults, and you can call seniors, elders, those more seasoned in life, whatever makes you comfortable. But that has always been my demographic. And I was 30, 31 years old at the time. I am now going on 67. All of these years, my demographic has been people with chronic health issues and those who are 50 and beyond in age. And I mean way beyond. I've worked with people in their hundreds, okay? So I'm also, my background is also a certified group fitness instructor, certified hatha yoga instructor. That came into my life later. I was in my early 40s, and also certified prenatal yoga instructor. And when I was nearing 60, I went back to school to become a licensed massage therapist in the state of Florida. And my specialties are geriatric massage, and I also do palliative care massage. So you can see it's always been the dynamic, and my work has just gone in the direction of multiple chronic concerns and how to be able to help someone be able to figure out how to work out safely and effectively. All right. And that's why I want to address the work with you, so then you can ask your questions based on that as well. So this exercise routine, I'm calling it today the beginner's kettlebell total body workout with supersets. Now, some of you are acquainted with my work already, and you know I love supersets. Supersets is when we work two different exercises back to back without any rest. Now, the accessories we'll be using today, or another way to say it is the equipment, all right? I'll be using a sticky yoga mat, and I say that on purpose because I'm not a big fan of exercise mats they slip and slide. Also, let's just comment for a moment on your circumstance. You need to make sure that that yoga mat is not resting on a throw rug. In fact, throw rugs, especially if you have osteoporosis, I say throw them away. They can be a real hazard in the home. So I prefer a tile floor with your mat on it, but real strong, flat surface, uncluttered. Now, I will also be using a fit ball. Now, a fit ball or a 9-inch Pilates ball, well, this thing is absolutely no weight to it. And now we're going to talk a little bit about how this would help with somebody with osteoporosis. Because what happens is when you hold on to something, even if it doesn't have added resistance, it helps with your form. So I'm going to say probably 3/4 of the workout, you can be able to use the fit ball. And if you don't have a small inflatable ball like this, then you can also use one of those really like foam-based yoga blocks, because again, no resistance, but form is key here, and form and alignment is what helps prevent us from getting injured. And of course, even enjoying the work helps us to prevent getting injured. Now, what else I will be using are 4 pair of kettlebells. I think I might have written to Cheryl 3, but I changed my mind. And so I'm working with 5s, 8s, 15, and 20-pound kettlebells. Do you begin with that? Absolutely not. All right. And in fact, if your hands are arthritic, Dupuytren's contracture, trigger finger, all kinds of stuff going on with your hands, and you can't even hold on to something, well then, folks, I'm going to tell you, so what? There's a way to work around that. So what you folks do is you wear adjustable wrist weights, preferably wrist weights that are 1/4 pound increments. And all of this is, and Kathy and Cheryl, very, very generous with this. All of this is in my Amazon shop. And all of this stuff, with the exception of one item, is curated. That means I own all this stuff and I work with it. So I pick and choose things that are very modestly priced and I know have a good long shelf life. And that's important. Now, so I think I told you 5, 8, 15, and 20 pounds. Now, this is going to lead me into the chattiest part of the presentation, which is the precautionary measures and medical disclaimers. So number 1, if you have a latex allergy, any and all exercise and yoga mats and any and all weighted balls, fit balls, whatever you have, even like my big, that's a big stability ball in the corner, the yellow one, they're all made out of latex. So what you want to do is look for non-latex or latex-free. Now, I'm going to say a general statement here. If you have any chronic health concern, anything at all, I'm going to ask you to please observe the video, to not participate right away, but to have an open, broader perspective and look for what you can do. Because I think the way that I present workouts is very doable for people of multiple levels. And I try to my very best to meet everybody at the level that they are at. You'll see why in just a moment. Now, but after previewing the work, and it could be a live like this, or it could be one of my videos on my YouTube channel, then I'm just going to say, if you're not sure, then invite the medical healthcare practitioner who knows your body best to preview the video as well to help you make an informed decision. So now, specific to this workout, okay? If you have any knee flexion issues, so that's issues with bending the knees. Now, I'm going to be teaching you squats, deadlifts. These bend the knees, all right? So instead of doing it one way, I'm going to show you another way as an alternative. So I'm going to take you to the wall. And what I teach here is something called a wall sit. also known as a wall seat. And you get to bend your knees as little or as much as you personally need to. Your back is fully supported up against the wall. You take your hands, you bring them to the inside of your high hip bones. These are called the iliac crest. You bring the hands to the inside, and then you line up to your knees, down to your ankles. Toes are in the same line as each other. And I'm fully upright. Now I'm going to stay here a little bit and tell you that there are other issues that you can use the wall for. So if you've been advised not to flex your spine, if you've been told not to bend down to pick up something, or maybe you have other back spine issues with that. In particular, this could be for those of you with osteoporosis of the spine, not exclusively to this though, folks, and also with the postural deviation known as hyperkyphosis, the one that's kind of hunched in appearance. Wonderful way to avoid flexing the spine for squats. Now notice I haven't moved, right? So you can go as low as you want or stay as up as high. But if you have knee issues, try not to drop down below the knees with your hips, okay? We don't want that much compression on the knees. So you can slide up and down the wall to do squats, or I'm talking a long time here, you can hold the work isometrically. So just by taking it to the wall, you have options there for several different chronic health concerns. Now, moving on, if you have any vestibular challenges, so this is challenges with your balance. Number one, you should never, ever work out alone. Always have a companion with you. Now, so I will be doing an exercise called a kickstand deadlift. Now, let me just grab the ball here for you. And the thing about it is that it's unilateral, which means it's one leg at a time. So you can see that I am doing the split stance, and really the primary work is on that front leg. You see, I'm even springing up and forward to show you here. So for you folks, just do it with both feet on the floor, okay? You can do it bilaterally, both sides at the same time. For those of you with carpal tunnel syndrome, you need to avoid wrist extension, no matter where the arms are, forearms, all this stuff. I never move the wrists. That's wrist extension. So please keep the wrist straight, because I do find a lot of people, when they work with kettlebells, they go like this. They go right into wrist extension. That would be inappropriate. Now, if you've ever had a TIA, a transient ischemic attack, or a stroke, well, I'm going to take us through a little bit of a cool down at the end. It's great movements for the spine to release the spine and tight backs. And one of the movements that I love to do is a back spine extension. Kathy knows, she's even joined me on this many times. And it's a back bend, right? But notice I'm not dropping my head back. So for TIA stroke, you keep your head neutral. If you don't have the issues, the rest of us, we can go into the hyper extension of the cervical spine of the neck, because the neck is capable of it, all right? It's a natural movement for the neck, but not for TIA or stroke. Now, folks, when I say this stuff to you, please don't think that if I do this, I'm going to get that. No, this is specific to people who have been dealing with or have had in the past these issues that I'm mentioning. Also, if you are medicated or not for hypertension, you have vertigo or GERD, please avoid the opposite direction of the cervical spine of the neck. This, dropping the head down. That's flexion of the cervical spine. Also for you folks, head, chin, neutral. And one thing I want to say across the board here, Kathy, about people who participate in lives like this, all online, right? Maybe you're working out to the videos on the YouTube channel, okay? Well, what I need you to be aware of is, where are you placing your device? Because I'm finding that some people, I see them in the gallery on certain live Zooms, and I'm also getting feedback. Oh, the exercise hurt me. If you are doing your workout with your device on the floor and your neck is in forward flexion the entire time and you're doing strength training, what do you think is going to happen? So please, if you have any neck issues, and even if you don't, let's keep the head up, your device totally eye level. My device right now, I'm with you. Boom, totally eye level. All right. Also, let's see what else I wanted to say here for you. Yes, 2 final precautionary measures, although you never know with me during the workout. So if you have golfer's or tennis elbow, this would be medial epicondylitis or lateral epicondylitis. Any and all bicep and tricep work, all right, could be an issue for you. And I can't give you a modification because the symptoms play themselves out uniquely to each individual. That's why I can't offer you advice on on golfers and tennis elbow. So that is something where I would direct you to your medical health care practitioner and say, hey, she's doing this and this in this video. What about for me? Okay? Because they might say, hey, you can do it, but don't do it with the weight. And that's all right as well. So now we're going to move into why is it that I am so excited about kettlebell training for chronic health concerns, for a healthy aging process. And it really comes down to, I want to say 4 or 5 points, okay? And they're important points. So what this does is lend itself to greater explosiveness and power. And in particular, one exercise, I brought 2 here, but one really is going to be a primary example of this, which is the kettlebell swing. And you might ask, who cares about greater explosiveness and power? Well, I have to tell you that myself as a senior, I need to be very aware of this because it has a direct effect on enhancing our reflex reaction time. This is very important, folks. You know, my thought process where I go with this. I think about the seniors affected by the California fires and how people weren't given much notice. You have to be able to get up and go on a dime. Your body needs to be able to respond with you and not work against you, right? And it's one of the reasons why it's because we never know, regardless of the situation, if it's a danger or not. You need to get up and go. And that's why I have been doing kettlebell work. And I began it about 6 months ago. I started bringing it in to my arsenal of working out. And also, it's showing to give us better cardiorespiratory fitness. Now, notice the word cardio and respiratory, right? We're talking about the heart and the lungs, right? And so it's not just about muscles going on here. It has to do with all kinds of organ systems. Also, it's excellent to create a stronger posterior chain of the body. So we have all the way on the entire back side of the body is being affected. And also, it is a low impact exercise, which is phenomenal for us. So there's a lot of benefits here. And I hope that you understand more after watching how I do the work that, hey, I might want to consider this. Okay. So now, a couple of gentle reminders. Always feel free to stop and rest whenever you need to. However, I am not inviting you to quit. So you stop, take a couple of breaths, and return to the work, even if it's just for one more repetition, because that's how you will get stronger. Also, you do want to make sure you keep yourselves properly hydrated with water. I don't know about flavored waters, bubbly waters. I don't know about coffees, teas, all that stuff. I just know what Harvard Health Publishing reports based on studies of working out in water. Now, this will bring me back to two other chronic health concerns. If you've been advised by your medical practitioner to avoid drinking a lot of water, maybe for kidney or bladder issues, what have you, you please follow that advice. I never want to fly in the face of the medical community. Now, within my YouTube channel, what I have pinned there is a warm up and a cool down video where you can interchange the movements. And the reason why I recorded this is because it is very important for those of us 55 years and above to warm up for a full 10 minutes prior to any workout. And also, I want to talk to you a little bit about what we put in the chat for you folks is the rating of perceived exertion chart, RPE for short. And this is a 0 through 10 subjective scale. And basically, it gives you an opportunity to assign a number that best represents your effort during a workout. It could be if you're running, maybe it's what you're expending from a cardiovascular perspective. And if you're lifting weights, it's like, well, how challenging is this for you, right? It could be an excellent tool for those who might have a pacemaker, for those who might be on certain medications like beta blockers, or maybe you just don't know how to take your exercise training heart rate. The advice is, particularly for Kathy's platform here and her channel, would be to work out at an RPE between 3 and 6. I have been using the Borg 0 through 10 scale. There's another scale, but I think this one, though subjective, is incredibly accurate. So that's why I wanted you to have a tool that you can refer to help you stay on track and get an idea of what feels pretty good for you while you're training. And now, what are we going to do here today with this beginner's kettlebell total body workout? It's a lot of words, and I think they're pretty clear now that you know what supersets are as well. We're going to learn 8 exercises. And I'm going to teach one set of each exercise, and a set is a group of 8 to 15 repetitions. I will teach them in a vertical format without weight. So I forgot the name of the female who asked me about the osteoporosis question. This is how you learn how to do the work, is really from the ground floor. You use no external resistance. And that's how I'm going to teach the first approach to each one of the 8 exercises. However, this is where I tie in the fit ball, your Pilates 9-inch ball, your yoga block, whatever it is, as long as there's no external resistance. Then after we do that approach, some of you might still want to maintain the work with the fit ball. That is fine. That's when I move into the kettlebell work with supersets, and I break it down into 4 blocks of 2 exercises each. So now we're going to begin, and we're going to talk about how to properly stand when we're strength training. I basically showed you at the wall. It's the same concept. So hands are going to the inside of the high pelvic bone. Now the hands, please let them point straight down, not turned in, straight down. I'm lining up to my knees, to my ankles, toes, same line as each other. Now turning to the side, and this is for the females in the house, because a lot of times when I see females working out, they start doing this. They start tipping their pelvis forward. It's called an anterior pelvic tilt. We don't want to do that. We actually want to come into a subtle posterior pelvic tilt, and it's also known as a pelvic tuck. So that's our athletic ready stance. I'm grabbing the fit ball. We're going to get going here now, folks. So for the first block, it's called a kettlebell, even though I'm using the ball, all right? Front squat. And we're going to couple this with something called the Kettlebell Gorilla Row. So I want to show you first just a basic squat, all right? And I'm going to choose to hold the ball. And when it's called a front squat, it means I'm going to put whatever I'm holding like right up near my chin. I just have to be careful of my microphone, right? So I'm going to stand here, athletic ready stance. Now, let me do a little diagonal because I want you to see that I'm lifting the toes inside the shoes. Now, why am I doing that? Several reasons. Number one, I get to strength train and send some love to the shin muscles. We never send them love. And oftentimes when you see people walking like this later in life, it's because there's just no life going on down there. So it's a way to bring life there. And that will help us when we're walking, with our gait, with our balance, and also it helps to actually strengthen the knees as well. So I'm going to sit back into a chair, inhale, exhale, I come up with this subtle pelvic tuck squeeze of the glute. What is that? It's a subtle hip thrust. So that's what you want to do when you're doing a squat. Now, with the kettlebell front squat, for me, not for you, because something happened with me. I need to bring my knees right, my feet right up against each other. You can keep your athletic ready stance. I'm choosing feet together. And now I'm going to inhale as I come down, exhale, come up on the effort. Inhale and exhale. All of the breath is in and out through the nose. And you want to stop at the peak of the contraction. Where's the peak here? Right here, pelvic tuck squeeze, right? So just give you a little diagonal here, sitting back. Now, who does not bring their feet together would be people with valgus knee issues. That's when you have a bit of a knocked knee. No, do the basic squat, but you could do it with the front, with the ball right up by your chin. Last repetition here, and hold. Now, the next exercise is called a gorilla row. Folks, what this is a bent over back row with the kettlebell. This is contraindicated for those of you with the back spine flexion issues. So for you folks, I'm going to show you a couple of repetitions of what you can do here, and then I'll move into the gorilla row as well. So for you folks, you're going to stay upright, bring the ball out in front, exhale, pull. Now notice I'm bringing my chest up to the ball, and that's allowing me to draw the shoulder blades down and in toward each other. One more like this, and I'm going to release down. Now I'm going to show you the gorilla row. So we pull, exhale. So what are we training here? Posterior deltoids, back of the shoulders, rhomboid muscles between the shoulder blades, and any type of a pull movement, we're working those biceps. One more, inhale, exhale, and slowly roll it up. So now, for the second block, I have that kickstand deadlift. Remember, not for those of you with vestibular challenges. And this is being done with a standing incline pec fly. So the kickstand deadlift, we have our little split stance. Nothing big, nothing ginormous, okay? The ball is right there in front of the leg. It's actually touching it. And I want you, you know what I'm going to do here before I do the kickstand deadlift? Let me show you the difference between a basic squat and a basic deadlift. Then we'll do the kickstand. So you already know. So I'm going to do the basic squat with the feet separated. I sit back and I come up. Here's the basic deadlift. Ball hangs, hip hinge instead of sitting back into the chair. Toes are still lifted, and here's that pelvic tuck squeeze. So this is an option for those of you with vestibular challenges. Now, let's go into the kickstand deadlift. Let me go back a little here. And hip hinge, up and forward with the chest. With a kickstand deadlift, you want to drive it up and forward, and wow, boy, is that work in the gluteal of the front leg. Very, very little weight in the back leg, folks. Inhale, exhale. So what can happen is oftentimes females, not always, but often fall because of weak gluteals. And just one more repetition. Inhale, exhale. Whew, gets right in there, and even, without the external resistance. Now this side, well, spirit of being forthcoming. I was injured as a child, so I might not have as deep of a range of motion as the other side. And I might not like it as much on this side, but I do it. I'm not in pain, but I do it. And it's important to do it. It's probably any form of a deadlift, to me, is the most important type of exercise for the gluteals when it comes to females. I'm going to do one more, chest up and proud. You can even spring up if you want, right? I'm going to do one more now. And release. But when you have a weight in your hand, I don't think you're going to spring. I wouldn't advise that. And now for a standing incline pec fly, no ball here, okay? So pectorals, we have the pectoralis major under the breast tissue, etc. And then we have pectoralis minor, okay? So we bring the arms like so. And inhale, exhale, I want to scoop up and under the breast tissue. Puff up that chest. Don't allow the abdominal muscle to pull you down into flexion. And exhale up. When you have kettlebells hanging out on the lever out in front of you, oh man, it's a lot of work, because with kettlebells, we're working the forearms, the wrists, the hands, the fingers even more, which is fantastic for us because it is an indication of mortality, hand and grip strength, right? Kettlebell training is outstanding for this. So we're going to go for 2 more repetitions. Pause. Last one. Exhale up and slowly lower. If you need a little break, you take the break between blocks, not between sets. So you can take a couple of shoulder rolls if you need. Now, for the next block, we have a kettlebell swing and kettlebell delt abduction adduction. That means we're talking about the shoulders there. So for the kettlebell swing, now, this is unweighted, right? No weight. But I'm going to demonstrate how you work with a weight, a kettlebell for this. This is the proper safety form for this. So what you do is you bring the kettlebell out in front. Then you draw it through the legs to come up. And notice, I am not trying to go as fast as possible, and I am not trying to fling my arms up and overhead. What this is really a form of a deadlift because there's a hip hinge, right? And then we've got the momentum of the swing. I'm going to do one more. Then if it's a big kettlebell, I bring it down. I'm walking to the kettlebell to slowly come on up. I hope that makes sense for you. Now, for the delt abduction, adduction, again, unweighted. So when I don't use the ball, without weight, anything like that, I want you to really think about what you're doing. Slow down the movement. This is not about as many reps as possible. That's a big movement online right now called AMRAP. And it is complete antithesis to bone and muscle strength. I'm not saying it's not a good thing to do, but not if you want to get stronger. So I'm going to exhale, come out and up. So what I'm doing here, and I'm going to look down for the moment because I get a little confused when I look at the screen. What I'm doing here is abduction is ABD. So that is going away from the midline of the body. Adduction, ADD, is going toward the midline of the body. So you take your time lowering in. Now, why am I not going all the way here? Because if you have pinched nerve at the neck or rotator cuff muscle issues, if you begin the movement from here, well, the first 10 to 15 degrees of the exercise, That's your rotator cuff muscles, folks. So what I'm just doing is a little hack to keep you on the deltoid muscle, the shoulder muscles. We're going to go for one more, pause, and slowly down. So the final block before we move into the kettlebells, I'll be doing, I kind of created these, right? So I just calling them these little descriptions here because I'm not sure how to refer to them as, but I'm calling this first one the bicep scoop. What I'm looking for is that, now this is where, by the way, golfers tennis elbow, you have to pay attention, right? Because we're going after bicep and tricep work. So what I'm doing is holding a 90-degree angle bend at the elbow, right? I'm not doing this. I'm not coming up here. It's 90 degrees. And then I scoop the arms forward and up. I never moved the forearm. Therefore, the elbow is maintaining that 90-degree angle bend. I'm in an isometric contraction on those biceps, folks. And exhale up. So now I'm going to grab the ball and show you some more repetitions, but with the ball. Let's come on this angle and up. And exhale. And always pause at the peak right here. Boom. One more. And slowly down. Now, I'm going to take the ball behind me. Tricep work, the back of the upper arm and the back of the bicep muscle, all right? So I take the ball behind me. And what I'm doing, number one, right away, this is work. This is work on the posterior deltoid and on the tricep muscle. I'm going to bend the elbow to lift. I'm going to keep the ball away from me and push. Lift and push. So this is a tricep lift and push. This is so much work on the tricep muscle, folks. But when you have the weight, the kettlebell in your hands, ooh la la, you're going to feel so much core work. Quadriceps, gluteals are working. Also working the shoulder muscles, opening up across the front of that chest. There's a lot happening here. Let's go for two more. Push, lift, and push. And lower it down. They're already talking to me. So now I'm going to move into the kettlebell work now with our supersets, 2 exercises back to back without rest. So the first exercise is the kettlebell front squats. This is where I'm using 15 pounders. My chin is on my hands right up here, my fists, my feet are together for me. You don't have to do it for you. And I'm going to sit back, inhale, exhale up, pelvic tuck squeeze. Inhale, exhale up. Yeah, I get quiet when I'm really working. Breath in and out through the nose. One more. Easy when you lower them down. Now, the next exercise is the kettlebell gorilla row. I will be using 20 pounders for this. There's a couple of ways we can do this. I'm going to bring the legs wider. Remember, to stay upright. Those of you with back spine flexion issues. I'm going to just check something here. Go back a little further. Okay, you can do this unilaterally, one side at a time. You don't want to crash your kettlebell to the floor. This is the gorilla row. Or you can go both. This is 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 7, and 8, and down. Okay, now back to the front squats. Back to 15 pounders. Okay. I'm going feet together. Are they even? Yes, they are. Pelvic tuck squeeze at the top. Toes lifted. Just the toes, not the balls of your feet. 2 more. Easy on the down phase. I want to make sure that my glasses don't slide off because I'm starting to sweat. Okay, here we go. Let's take it on this angle. So this is working bilaterally. You don't have to touch the floor every time, but you are bent over for sure. Just try not to round the back. I'm going to go for one, last one unilateral. And put them away. Keep your circumstance safe. Okay. So we did our first block. Now we're doing the second block, which is kettlebell deadlifts. I'm going to show you 2 ways of doing that. Kickstand deadlifts, but 2 ways I want to show you with the standing incline pec fly. First way, I'm going to choose one weight, 20 pounds. So coming into our kickstand position, chest up, shoulders back and down, breath in and out. Hip hinge, right? Both knees bend. Up and forward, chest up and forward. Remember, you could just choose to do a basic deadlift. That's okay too. Gosh, one more. Other side. Ooh la la. It's like, whose idea was this? Okay. And shoulders back and down. You're not sitting back. You're hip hinging. Belly button in. Protect the back through the abdominals. Very little weight on that back foot. One more. And let's set it down. And standing incline pec fly. 5 pounders, folks. That's it for me on this. Hopefully I can build up to getting stronger on it. And up and under the breast tissue. Exhale, pause. Whew. I feel it. One more. One more now. And slowly down. A lot of bicep work on that as well, isometrically. Now, another way to do that kickstand deadlift is with 2 kettlebells. I'm going to bring it to 15 pounders. Same concept though, split stance. And the weights are not in front of me, right? 2 more. Oh. Other side. Ooh la la. I think I'm going to face the camera if you don't mind, because this side is just a little more challenging. Okay. Okay. My body is like, I don't know if I want to go there. Your rate of breathlessness will go up. That is normal. Last one. All righty-o. Now, let's do the next exercise, which is, again, back to the kettlebell standing incline pec fly. Let's go on a bit of a diagonal here for you. So when the arms are out in front like this, biceps greatly working, front deltoid, front shoulders, also known as the anterior deltoid, lots of abdominal to hold me up here, back erector muscles, the gluteals are engaged, the quadriceps, lots of stuff going on. One more, and slowly down. Now, our next block we have, what do we have? Oh yeah, the kettlebell swing, and we'll do the kettlebell delt abduction and adduction. So for the kettlebell swing, I'm going for the 20-pounder. Okay. Remember, out in front, let's make sure you can see that. Yep. And then through the legs and up. Notice I'm not bending all the way to the floor, and I'm not swinging this thing over my head. Two more. Carefully, out in front, walk toward it. Slowly come up. Let me move it off to the side. And then we're doing the delta abduction, adduction. Back to the fives. So remember, we're going to be 10 to 15 degrees away from the side body to help those with pinched nerve or rotator cuff muscle issues, especially that supraspinatus, suitcase muscle, pesky muscle in the female physique. Lots of work here in the forearms. Woof! Man, I feel that. One more. And slowly down, back to my kettlebell swing. Let's give you a diagonal on this. Out in front, through and up. All the way up. Hip hinge at the top, keep it small. I don't look straight down, I look down and out. Last one. Out in front, walk toward it. And then I'm going to just put it off to the side, back to delta abduction, adduction. Whew. Sweating. Okay. So when I do my training, I am watching, listening to Kathy Hester. I study this way. I get a lot of podcast airtime in when I want to participate as a viewer. One more. Ooh la la. Whew. Okay, we have our final block, and okay, sweating, bear with me. Okay, we're doing the bicep scoop. I'm using my 8-pounders along with that tricep lift and push. So here we go. So 90 degrees, right? Oh, so much on that front deltoid too. Woohoo! Okay, now I'm going to turn them. Arms back, lift, and push. Not a big movement, right? But man, it's what I call bites right into the belly of the muscle. Pause. Careful of the neck, right? The forward head posture, that tech neck. A lot of people will go into with this exercise. One more. Oh, and slowly down. Back to the bicep scoop. Okay, let's see. 90 degrees, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. 90 degrees, Angela. Oh, gosh. Oh. 2 more. Yes, I did rehearse this before, folks. And slowly down. Let's come into the tricep. Lift and push. Lift, push. Lift, push. Try not to let that kettlebell hit into the glute. Oh, gosh, 2 more. Oh, uno más. Oh, and slowly down. Oh, la la. Now, let's do a little bit of a cool down here, folks. So I want you to stand here in your athletic ready stance. Big shoulder rolls. You deserve this. Up, back, and down. Think you're elevating your shoulders up toward your earlobes. It is not an elbow pump. It's not this, all right? Because people are tight in the scapulae, shoulder blades. They don't budge. We want to get right up and in there. Nice. Now, I want you to stand with your feet a bit wider than your hips. We're going to do what's called lateral flexion of the spine. So I'm going to slide my right hand down the outer right side of my leg, reaching the right middle finger toward that back heel, while I bring my left hand to my waist on the other side. Now, if you have pinched nerve or rotator cuff muscle issues, keep your hand here. Otherwise, we're going to take the arm up and over. Oh, this is delicious, stretching out the oblique muscles at the waist, internal and external obliques, partially responsible for turning and twisting the torso. Inhale, turn the palm up, grab an imaginary hook. Exhale, push down in that left heel to return to center. Now I'm going to continue right over to the other side. Now notice my sternum, my breastbone, it's not turning down toward the floor. This is going to collapse your side organs. This is not by turning the sternum up to the ceiling. Right hand to waist or arm up and over. The other area we're stretching, this is so delicious, the intercostal muscles between the ribs. They are responsible for 25% of your respiratory cycle. Inhale, turn the palm up, grab a hook. Exhale, push down into that right heel, return to center. Give me a couple of shoulder rolls. Now, I'm going for that back spine extension I showed you before. When I do it, my feet are wider than my hips. I'm going to turn to the side. I'm going to show you 2 ways here. Make sure my feet aren't cut off. Hands come onto the sacrum. The sacrum is that upside down letter V or triangular shape at the base of your spine. However, my hands here, if I pull the hands away, this is wrist extension, isn't it? Right? So what we want to do, for those of you with carpal tunnel, bring your hands below the buttocks. So now I'm going to bend my knees forward, and I'm just kind of visualizing that I'm sliding one side of the sacrum at a time down toward my heels. Does it slide? Yeah, no. Remember TIA stroke? You're going to keep your head neutral. Roll the shoulders back. And for those of us who want to go into hyperextension of the neck, go for it. You can also do it with your knees straight. And inhale, lift the head. Exhale, come all the way up. Again, shoulder rolls. And this is about the time when I would advise people to head on over to my YouTube channel, Boomer and Beyond Wellness, to take another 5 minutes of a proper cool down for yourselves. What I'm doing here is what I call either the belly dance or a hula and reverse direction. Oh, feels wonderful on the lower back. It is something that I give to my prenatal students too, that you hear them like, oh, great. And come back to center. And that's what we have for you here today, Kathy. If you folks have any questions, I'm here for you.
Okay, so I think we have some questions, and I think I scooted over a lot during all that. So I'm going to go from last asked back.
Say that again?
I'm just telling the audience I'm going for the most recent asked question, and then I'm going to keep going back. So don't worry
No
if
problem.
your question is not skipped.
Yep.
TS says, so if we use the wrist weights, as you mentioned, do we just do all of the same movements? Are there any changes needed if you're using wrist weights instead of the kettlebells?
No, you can do the same movements. And I'm going to tell you something else, TS. And hello, TS. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us live. So the other great thing about it is if you can hold a fit ball, right? But that's about it. Okay. So let me go get it for you. So if you can hold a fit ball and wear the wrist weights, this would be really great because, it's the whole concept of grasping onto something to hold something to get the hand and the hand grip stronger. So I hope that helps. I'm not changing anything because of wrist weights. I'm just making sure that it is a way for you to get proper strength training. I'm not telling you to put on ankle weights, okay? I'm just referring to wrist weights for this.
Okay, great. And she also says, fantastic exercises. Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Apple's here, and Apple
Hi,
says,
Apple.
right? I know, we're all delighted with Apple. And Apple says, wow, thank you. I like those kickstand deadlifts. Felt great.
Oh, great. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. That is such an important exercise for females. I'm so happy. And I was wondering what this particular approach to exercise would do with you, Apple, So I'm so happy to hear that you had a takeaway. This makes my night.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you are always so precise, and I'm going to be going back, and someone else was saying how much they appreciate how detailed you are.
Oh, thank you so much.
Annette says, you're so strong, and that's exactly how I feel.
I know Annette a long time. I'm so happy to see her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Jennifer Diamond is here, and if you guys
Hi,
don't know, make sure to go follow her at her channel. She has a really amazing weight loss story, and she's actually in the coaching group with Cheryl that are getting some stuff ready for the bundle. As you know, the happiness and bane of my existence, which will happen sometime in March, possibly. Who knows? I'm not supposed to say anything.
Whose bundle is that, Kathy? Is that Chef AJ's bundle?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I think we're not really supposed to mention it, but I always slip.
Okay, I didn't say anything.
I have my pizza classes in there, so I just sent those off. So it's all gluten-free, vegan. It's not quite SOFAS free, but I think it's close because it uses ground soaked quinoa and lentils, which could be in between, but I think that could be sofas as well.
Yeah, that's great. Did Jennifer have a question or anything?
No, I just wanted to give her a shout out, and she said, great job as always,
Thank you,
Angela.
love. Thank you very much.
And Daria says, hello, everyone. Glad I was able to watch this live. Thank you for
Hi.
these excellent presentations from Angela.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, most of these are going to be happy things. I have a couple of questions. So, TS earlier on, right? Because I'm going from latest to earliest. Very interesting and a lot different than some of the kettlebell exercises online that swing a lot.
Right. And let me explain something to you. That is why they were created. Okay. But what I've done is I'm looking at this from several angles, Kathy, right? So it's like, well, can chronic concerns, people with medical, can they really do a real total sort of kettlebell swinging, what the full intention was? No. But does that mean we don't touch it? No, because here's what happens. The more you work with different exercise equipment, accessories. I have a whole thing coming up soon that's going to be about working out with weighted balls, just holding them. And these are slam balls. Am I slamming? No, I live in an apartment. Can you imagine? Okay. But the point is every different type of equipment requires something unique from the body. This is what we have to focus on for healthy aging, meaning vary it up. Your brain, your mind, it has to reconnect and go, wait a minute, now I'm used to doing that one with the dumbbell. I got to do something different here with the kettlebell. This is exactly the response that I want. I want the body to say, oh, this is new and I have to adapt now to this. That's why I'm doing this. All right. I'm not doing it because, look, they use this stuff in the military and stuff. You think I'm going to do that stuff? No, I'm not. But I'm not going to avoid using them. I'm just presenting to you basic exercises that I'm doing with a kettlebell. And I'm just doing maybe a little bit of a different approach. But to not use different equipment really doesn't serve us. The more variety, the better for us, Kathy, on just so many levels, but especially cognition.
I love that you're saying that. And so there's an instructor on the Peloton that I use, and he's always saying, some of you want to keep doing the same thing over and over again, the same ride over and over again. That would be me. I like I just, I feel it. I know when it's going to be over. It's just very comfortable. And what he says is kind of like what you're saying too. Being comfortable isn't going to get you any more strength, isn't going to get you any better. So even sometimes, from what he's saying, you could do one with less exertion, challenge different parts of your body, and
Yes.
still get kind of a new workout that actually may be more beneficial. And so I've been trying to wrap my mind around that for a couple of years. So thank you for putting it.
That is, I absolutely agree with this person. And Peloton people are typically a lot younger than I am. And I'm really happy to hear that that's the truth, right? I know what I'm dealing with. I know what I'm
not
dealing
the
with.
groups I'm in. But
Listen, honey, and so, but with the fact that he's a lot younger and is talking this way, I'm very, very excited about. Now, the one area where familiarity, repeating what is comfortable and what is familiar, is if people have cognitive impairment. So when I work with people with Alzheimer's, et cetera, I'm giving them the same stuff, doing the same things with them because it's familiar and it keeps them in their comfort zone. They're working, there's no question, okay? And the other thing too is when it comes to cognitive impairment, when I give massages, I work with people on for geriatric massage and palliative care massage. I don't have a table out as a massage therapist. I'm working with them either in a home hospital bed or in a recliner. That's it. We don't get them up and down off of a table. That's a whole nother problem, right? And what I do for familiarity is I play music that, I've discussed the client with the family, or maybe that there is no family and there are really cool caregivers. I'll discuss the childhood of this individual. And for some people, sometimes they're in their 90s. I look up and I'll look for the music at the time. That's what I'm playing during the massages. So familiarity when it comes to cognitive impairment is very important. In fact, I just wanted to quickly announce to everybody that I live in Lauderdale Lakes. It's at outskirts of Fort Lauderdale, and I just got hired for my first on-site teaching chair yoga in 6 years. And I'm going to be teaching chair yoga for seniors at the Lauderdale Lakes Alzheimer's Daycare Center. So it will be with people with cognitive impairment. So I just had a meeting yesterday with the activities coordinator, and I said, look, this is a very specific demographic, and it has to do with, okay, where are they from originally? This particular demographic, Haitian Creole. And I said to her, I need you to help me with the music of their childhood and what traditional, maybe folk type music, etc. And she was very thrilled that I brought that up. And I was like, please. And she said, I'm going to help you put together playlists, which I was like, great, because I have to be able to connect with them, right? And the only way that I can do that with cognitive impairment is through the sound, and then repeating movements with them, one class after the other. So that's when you do the same exercises. I hope that helps people. All right.
That's really interesting. And one thing that's maybe more superficial, you went really deep. So, superficial for me, like one of the things that helps me be on the Peloton when I'm not I'm not a bike racer kind of person, I'm a walker. That's where my happiness lies. But one of the reasons I like the Peloton is because I can pick a playlist that suits my mood or
That's right.
my age. Like it's so funny on there because like you can get country music, you can get rap, you can get music of the 90s, music of the 50s, music of today.
There you go. Right.
And so it's very interesting that you talk about that because I find when I'm doing something that I'm a little uncomfortable, which means it's new to me. I do a lot of things that are new to me, but they feel uncomfortable. If it's even if it's cooking and I'm experimenting, I put on music to support
That's
that.
right.
And kind of even doing this, like if I didn't do the kettlebell workout with you this time, but if I came back, I probably would put on music and still watch this and do this just to put me in that. It does kind of put your head in the right place. So thank you for kind of explaining where that goes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's fantastic that you do that. Look, I mean, I even do it if it's not even music related. When I'm making, like, whatever, I want to do this workout today. What am I in the mood for? Oh, I might be in the mood for watching, I don't know, Be Green with Amy. She's on right now. It's in the middle of the afternoon, right? Or I might be like, I feel like hearing some politics. But then if the politics gets too creepy, I'm like, get out of here. And I just change the station. You understand what I'm saying? It's to suit the mood.
I agree. And I am all about like spa music. Like I'll go downstairs and lay down if I'm getting stressed out. I just put on like some spa music, lay there, read a book for like 15 minutes, and I can come back like a new person. And that's so helpful. I do want to, two things, and then I may have a couple more questions.
No
Mary
problem.
says, such an important reminder about the best place to put your device during virtual classes and virtual
Really,
fitness.
right? Thank you, Mary. I mean, because, no, seriously, I had people like, I hurt my neck. And then I watched them another time and I'm like, yeah, lift your head up.
Right?
Pick
Well,
your head up.
and I do that too. So on the Peloton, a lot of times I'll do some yoga. Usually I do restorative yoga because I'm trying to like chill.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's my,
Mm-hmm.
and it's nice because if I'm laying on the floor, that's about the right place to look at the TV,
That's
right?
appropriate. Yeah.
Or just
Yeah.
kind of peek up there and then be okay. So I
No,
think
I
it is
know,
interesting.
especially people with their phones. It's a lot to do with the phones down on the floor. And that's why my I have a motorized standing desk. It was the first thing I bought when the pandemic hit. I went, I got a feeling about this. And now I love it because it's like a boom. I'm like, okay, I can bring it down all the way when I want to get on the floor and do my yoga class.
No, it's perfect for you filming too. So like in front of me in the kitchen, Cheryl wanted a different TV and she got a reward for cleaning up the den. So we took that TV. So now I have this giant thing that's in front of me, which is awesome because okay, I'm not quite 60 yet. I'm close. I turned 60 in April. But I'm like, the one thing, I'm very tech savvy, but I'm always like, how do people work on their phones? Everything's tiny.
Yeah, I don't get
The
it.
programs on a phone and an iPad are different than on a computer. And that will be my mama rant for the evening. But like the idea of looking at, like, I can do most stuff on there, but like literally like email. If I want to write an email to my audience, my program won't let me do it on my phone. I have
Yeah,
to be
I
on my
yeah.
computer. And I'm like,
I am so similar to you with that. You saw me just trying to send you the RPE chart from my phone. Okay. It's no joke.
right. And technology can be difficult. I do remember, and what's really brilliant is, like Chromebooks are inexpensive.
Mm,
A
yep.
lot of tablets are inexpensive. And
Yep.
I have to say, you guys have been telling me for years that you watch me on the TV, and that just scares me about how big my head is in front of you. But since we've been looking up all these travel videos and really trying to research it to start our new business, I've watched 60 hours of YouTube now on a big TV.
Yeah, I
And there
bet.
is some nice stuff about that. There's some irritating stuff about that too, because you don't really see like live chats or
Oh, right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
you can't really, it's very hard to thumbs up. You can't go to the next video or the previous video.
Gotcha.
But don't forget that you have your TV too, especially if you're doing this.
Well, you do. I don't.
If you have an older TV, you might not be able to do it. But we have a little Apple TV box. And a lot of times you don't need the newest one or the
Mm.
newest little thing that you plug in. So those are also possibilities. Now, here's the original question from Ronnie that I promised
Hi,
I was going
Ronnie.
to ask. And I don't know how to say this. I'll say what I think and then I will spell it to you. I have Dupuytren
Yep, I know what it is.
contracture. How do you
Dupuytren's contracture.
Oh, thank,
Dupuytren's. I'm saying it wrong. I don't have a French accent. Can you put that back on so I could read that?
yes.
Thanks. In both hands. Is there any modification that I could use with them? I can't give that to you because I don't know what, it's a general, I go by, when people have a diagnosis, I'm not going after the diagnosis. I'm going after the individual who has that diagnosis because there are so many different ways a diagnosis for a whole demographic of people play themselves out in symptoms. The most obvious to me of all is golfers and tennis elbow. So for Dupuytren's contracture, I would actually seek a physical therapist. Has she been in physical therapy for Dupuytren's contracture? Now, remember that with Dupuytren's contracture, what I'm going to have an issue with for you is, let me get a light dumbbell here. Let me just get a dumbbell. I'm going to have an issue with this, flexing my fingers around a weight, right? So with the Puchin's contractor, you could also consider wrist weights. I mean, to me, it would be absolutely a no-brainer to use wrist weights for you. But this said, to actually deal with your Puchin's contracture, that would need to be a physical therapist.
Okay, and I'll see if she says anything else because I'm back down to the end. But she did
Okay.
say, are wrist weights safe if I've broken both of my wrists at various times?
I broke my wrist.
Okay.
Okay. A bone healed is a bone healed. And if it's not healed, there's another issue going on. Right? So if Ronnie knows if her bones are healed, you can ask your medical doctor about slapping on some wrist weights. If they're healed, I'm going to lean toward, yeah, but I want you to ask first. Don't just do something. I don't know you, and I don't know how you move. I don't know how the bones fractured, etc., or even why, because is it osteoporosis related, whatever it is. But answering those questions to me won't help. I can't help you that way. But I would ask your doctor about slapping on those wrist weights, because I think that would be a great alternative for you, provided those bones are healed.
Hey, okay. So Cheryl was talking to me and I've lost my train of thought, but I have more things here to tell you.
And
Apple,
Ronnie, and I'm sorry, I just want
That's okay.
Ronnie to, I'm not blowing her off because I think she should ask, because I think it could be a really viable alternative.
Oh, absolutely. Angela, I do not hear that from you at all. And I'm going to keep going down. There's more stuff. But I did want to get back to Apple after she had said the good thing, said the Fischetti lift and push copyright is fantastic. I've been doing it a few times a week since the last time she showed us. Right?
High five.
I know, like Apple makes everybody's day. I feel like that's the best.
Fabulous.
And even she was saying, Annette had said, I want to start doing them also, Apple. And Apple said, Annette, do it. I started without weights and now I do them with resistance bands. Yes. I did today's routine with bands as well because I don't have kettlebells. Yeah. Right? And I think that you are doing the same dance I do as a recipe developer when someone says something like, oh, I don't like X, Y, and Z, so I put in A, B, and C. And I'm like, you go. It's your dinner, right? Right? You've got what you've got.
Do it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even sometimes when you're doing this, today I didn't do it, but because I wanted to watch you use the kettlebells more, so I was paying more attention. Sometimes I go and do the movements through without whatever weight you're using,
Yeah,
just
that's
to kind
great.
of get the body feel, right? Like I'm very much I'd like to say I'm not, but I am a very much kinesthetic person when it comes to learning body movement. I have to do it that way. And
that's also why I teach it that way, because people don't give themselves permission to exercise that way. It's a great way to begin your journey. Nothing. Use nothing.
Absolutely. And also it frees your mind from, if you're like me, okay, I like to say I'm not competitive and all of this stuff. I'm not competitive with you. I'm competitive with me. I'm competitive with my 20-year-old self. I'm like, I could do this before. I could do it. No. And I'm like, no, slow down there. Almost 60-year-old lady. Let's take a deep breath and let's just see how it feels in this body today, because I think it is really easy to go, well, I used to be able to do this in yoga. Well, yeah, when I went 7 days a week and I was 30 years old.
Right.
Right?
Kathy, are you an Aries?
I'm a Taurus, but I'm kind of on the cusp. So I'm very stubborn.
Okay.
Why were you thinking I was an Aries? I'm curious.
Oh, just because you're competitive with yourself. I mean, because I'm an Aries and I'm just like, yeah, I know what that's like.
Well, and I can be, like, if we're playing a board game, I'm in to win. Which is really funny because, like, I'm a very, like, hippy dippy. We're all in here, all, what is it? Rising tides, floats all boats and stuff. But like if it's cards,
I'm gonna take you down.
exactly. And I get really competitive. Cheryl makes fun of me about it. She makes such fun of me. And then, so I have to like catch myself because I'm like, I am where I am now. And I think that's one of the things that I like to tell everybody else. But like when we watch something new, you're giving us all this great information, and let your body just kind of see and be an apple. Use what you have, be
Yeah.
where you are. And so that's amazing. And Jennifer said, and I agree, I thought the same thing. I would love to get a massage from Angela.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I really, really appreciate that. That's a sweet thing to say. Because that was,
Oh,
from the pandemic, I lost a lot of that, you know. And recently, a snowbird came to Boca Raton in Florida, and it is. I live a lot closer to there now, so I hadn't seen her in a couple of years, and she came back, and I gave her a massage last week, and it was just like, wow, this feels great because I love getting in those muscles and just having a good time with that stuff because that's why I'm big about the name of my business. I didn't call it Boomer and Beyond Fitness. I called it Boomer and Beyond Wellness because the wellness components are the yoga and the massage therapy.
oh, that makes perfect sense too. And,
Yeah.
and it's such a good thing to get your mind into all of that as well.
Oh,
And
yeah.
And Apple says, gosh, I love Angela so much. Our vocations are very similar, and they are. Like I could not feel more like bubbly giddy that the two of you got to meet online, because I think it's like if I could make a perfect connection, that's a perfect connection.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much, Apple. You are a true light in this community, a true light.
It's very, very true, and it
Yeah.
it it means the world to me that both of you guys are in the community, that all of us are in the community. Really, I mean, it lifts me up on
It's
a
a
daily
fabulous
basis.
community. It's a beautiful, beautiful community, which is really great. I love Karen and what she's doing in Heartbeat. It's just all really great stuff.
That's true. And so, if you guys are watching this and you don't know, I have a free heartbeat group, and Cheryl and Karen are leading kind of this free movement group that you can go in and you can like be in Zoom calls I think it's once a month now. It may be more often.
With our travel, it's gonna.
So at least once a month, we'll say that because Cheryl was like, with our travel, because like that's why I'm stressed out. I'm like, how did planning vacation? And I mean, it's not vacations, but they are in their work becoming like my new full time job, and it
Mm,
kind of is. It's very interesting. But going back to and Apple says, yes, come over to Kathy's Heartbeat group. She's in there. There's
yeah.
other things that happen. Sometimes the Apple will do like a body doubling session. Like it's a great value because it's free.
Right.
So you don't have to do anything except go
Yeah,
sign
but
up and
Kathy, people with free stuff sometimes don't do quality stuff. And so that doesn't go hand in hand half the time there. I mean, I think more often than not is my experience, and that's why for me I'll keep coming back to like the same platforms because I'm like, no, this person really cares about the quality of what they're putting out for free. They're putting out really seriously great quality. You know whom else I think of when I think of that? I think of Kathleen Gage. And
mm,
you did an interview with. This is all primarily free stuff or very low priced. And these are, I think, a lot of people in the whole food plant based or plant exclusive community are very, very open to putting out free content because there are so many people who don't have access to the information. I brought this whole idea to the Alzheimer's Daycare Center in Lauderdale Lakes. But you know how I did it is, and this is something that it's important for people in certain towns, that if you have, what's it called, when you don't have access to fresh produce and what have you, it's a, oh, what is
Food
that called?
desert.
A
Food
food desert.
desert.
Okay. I live in a food desert. And I noticed the same concept where I live with, why do these senior centers where I live in Lauderdale Lakes not have much at all for the seniors when it comes to movement? But yet, if I go over here, literally next door to Fort Lauderdale, there are 12 facilities, and they all have chair exercises and chair yoga, whatever it is for the seniors, exponentially more programs. And what was recommended to me was to contact the local commissioners. And there are 3 in Lauderdale Lakes, Florida. I wrote them all. I sent them all my resume, my one sheet, my ideas. I'm like, how do I put this into effect? It was they who sent my information over to the Alzheimer's Daycare Center in Lauderdale Lakes. And she was like, I've been looking for somebody to do this. And I'm like, I'm there, honey, you know? And so you can reach out to your local commissioners. And if you feel like your township, your city needs something that helps address your self-care, but it's easier for you to do it in a group setting, I think you ought to contact your commissioners and really go for it. It didn't require a lot of effort on my part. I just had to kind of understand what I wanted to try to achieve here, and to be able to get something going, get the proper direction. And it turned out my incredible real estate agent who helped me buy this place she's an amazing source for me locally. And she was like, you need to go after the commissioners, or you have good ideas, go after them. So I'm telling the public, you want more low priced, access to things, free things, reach out to your local government, because it can be very enriching and rewarding when you see something unfold. Mine unfolded in a week. It just boom. Oh, okay, great. Right. So I just, don't give up hope, and use your voice. And that's partly why I like people to do any type of workout that's appropriate for them, because it helps you with self-confidence, with esteem, and that you can speak up and voice what you're experiencing. And it even goes back to what I was talking about, dangerous situation. I want you to be able to get up and go, and to have your body ready to take it on. I'm going to get off my soapbox.
That's okay. I get ranty a little bit too, but it's
Woo!
important you feel passionate about that, and that's a really good thing. And I'm so excited about this new program. And I think the thing is when you're going on YouTube and things, there are a lot of really good quality things for free. You have to kind of try them on. Does it fit with me? How do I feel after this? Cheryl and I try, like Cheryl's doing her Motivate Your Monday at 9, right? And that may seem very different than like a McDougall Facebook support group, which maybe isn't so kind at times. Depends on which one. There's few that are kind of super mean to people who ask the same questions that they've been asked before. But like, you have to find this space where you feel cozy and safe. And that's why this community is so good. I feel like it warms my heart every time somebody new comes in and says, hi, it's my first time here. And in the comments, everybody's just lovely and introducing themselves. And you just have to find, some people are going to see our community and be like, they're a little too much for me. I don't want people saying hello to me. I just want to be a little more anonymous. And that's okay. They will find their place. It maybe is,
Right.
But for me, I like to have that kind of that warm, welcoming, comforting place. And I think you guys do too. So thank you, and thank you, Angela, so very much
Thank you,
for
Kat.
doing this for our community. It means so much to me and the community. And we really appreciate you and your time and your effort a
Thank you.
lot.
Thank you so much for that. I wanted to put out a question to the audience to see, and they could, write in the comments on the show notes too, with, the comments under the show notes for YouTube. I'm thinking about for the next month, I'd like to present, not in a chair on the floor. I'd like to present a yoga for constipation class. So if you would like that idea, let me know, because I'm going to tell you something right now. It works. It works. Every
I'm
time
being 10 years old over here.
I'm like, oh my goodness. And it's also very relaxing too, because it's all founded in restorative. But there are certain movements of the body that you can do that will enhance peristalsis, etc. And it could be a better alternative than some of what people are doing out there, like go void,
And what I'm doing right now while I'm looking away is I'm actually making a poll in the community
Oh, great.
on YouTube. So I'm going to say, would you like Angela to do a yoga for constipation class in February? And I'm going to say yes, no, add another option. I want something else I add in the comments. And even if we don't use your suggestion, we will save it for another time.
Sure.
All right, that's posted, so
Thank-
we'll be able to see that in the community, and I will try, I'm a little scattered, but I will try to also put that out in a newsletter at some point in the near future.
Okay, that's terrific. Thank you.
Do you have anything else you want to say before we go?
So, yes, thank you very much. So, if people would like to contact me, they can connect with me by way of the contact form on my website, boomerandbeyondwellness.com. And I typically reply within 24 to 48 hours. Also, if you would like to subscribe to my newsletter, it is a monthly newsletter. And if you do subscribe to it, you will receive an immediate thank you present, which is a workout that I designed. And I can let you know the type of class that it is. It was based on polls that I ran in my YouTube community chat. And it is I created a workout specifically for those who are subscribing to the newsletter. And it is, this poll came split 50-50 every time I ran it. We want strength training. We want chair. So you got total body workout, strength training in a chair. And you're going to get a video as a thank you if you subscribe. You go to the same website, boomerandbeyondwellness.com, look for the subscribe tab, and would love to welcome you aboard to sending you the newsletter. Thanks so much, Kathy. I appreciate you.
Oh, of course. And yoga for constipation, I almost said constipated yoga. I really am 10 over here, so I'm sorry.
Depending upon who teaches it, it can be.
Right. And all I can think about when you say that, so very few times, because I've been vegan for so long, am I constipated. But if you are, that's one of the worst feelings in the world.
Oh, it is,
I think it's right up there with like having intestinal flu or something.
Right.
Like it is not okay. And I remember a friend of mine came to visit us. And she was so constant. I bought prune juice. We tried all the things, nothing was working. It took like 4 days for me to get enough stuff in her to get all the stuff out. And it's a really, it's bad. So TS says that would be a fantastic class. And Apple said, good idea, Angela. It does work because Apple was a yoga teacher. And she's also laughing at me because I'm being a 10-year-old child, laughing about the word constipation.
Aw. Ooh.
I know. It's an interesting week. But thank you again so very much. And I think that's a great idea because like there's nothing like having some tools in your tool case for when things go wrong. Like there's a
Yes,
place in my
exactly.
hip that hurts a lot, so I'm always working on it and doing some stretches for it, even as I'm sitting in this chair or doing something else. So having a tool for something that can often bother us would be great.
Kathy, I want to
Well,
give you one little tip about that. When you have
mhm.
a recurring issue, what I would do is a slightly different approach than what I have been doing. So this means, let's say I'm trying to stretch my hip. I don't know, what you're specifically talking about, but I'm going to go, say I'm trying to stretch the hip flexor here, right? So maybe what I want to do is instead of stretching and holding and stretching and holding, how about I put that same hip into flexion dynamically? Just move it into flexion. And then try your hip extension. And you can even do that dynamically rather than holding it. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, it does. And I do that like when I'm standing at the counter. That's why I do all those planks and
Right.
downward dogs and all of that stuff. Some of it's for that, and I move around. But like it's just very interesting. It's interesting the idea. I think I'm starting to be open to the concepts of having these body tools. But I'll definitely try that too. A lot of times, if it's acting, the reason it acts up is my own fault. So let's just tell that right now. It's because I have turned out hips, and so if
Hmm.
I'm sitting in a chair, it's very easy for me to sit cross-legged unconsciously, and that
Right.
aggravates it.
Hmm.
So most of the time when it's happened, it's my own fault. But sometimes I'll even sleep. Yeah, I do that a lot. I have, like when I'm on the couch now, I have a thing that comes up. So
Hmm.
because I'm also 5'1.5", so my feet don't touch the floors in chairs and things like that a lot of times. But
I
yeah,
know.
I do. I consciously try to do some stretches inwardly, like you were showing too.
So your body loves lateral rotation. My body hates lateral rotation. I think
Oh,
somebody's knocking on my door.
I think so. You want to go ahead and just, oh,
Yeah.
hey, Rosh Efyen.
Thank you. Yes. Hello.
How are you guys doing? And let me see, I'll mute her for just a hot minute until I see her come back. Um, how is it going in Malaysia? It's 8:45 a.m. Yeah, you're like 11 hours difference, which is so strange. How are you doing? Are you having a good time? Um, I'm trying to think of what else. Anything new happening? Anybody else have any questions or comments about exercise or things that you're talking about? You are off mute, Miss Angela. Okay.
Okay. No, they never knock. I have signs out, but they're letting me know that they have to turn off the water in the building in the morning. They're giving me a heads up.
Oh, thank God they're doing that. You want to know
Yeah.
those sorts of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you. You've given us an extra long, awesome session, and we appreciate it. Don't forget, you guys, bookmark this. Come back, do your
Yeah.
workout with it, right? Make sure to follow Angela on her channel as well
Thank you.
and sign up for her newsletter. And we're going to be making a February date for all of us to
Yes,
meet back here and do some more good work for our body.
that's right. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Oh, thank you. Okay, you guys, don't forget Cheryl will be back on in about an hour and 10 minutes. So come hang out with her and motivate your Monday, set your goals, set yourself up for success by like sharing some of those ideas with community. Okay. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.